On this episode of RC Kicks, we're unboxing and running this, the Rocket from ZD Racing. So stay tuned to find out, is it worth a look or not? Hi, and welcome to RC Kicks. So we're going to take a look at this, a 1/10 scale kind of Baja basher truck kind of thing, and it's from ZD Racing, zdhobby.com. So I was sent this by Banggood, and it's a BDX10. So let's unbox it, take a look, and see what you get for your money. So what do you get first? You get a manual, some foam covering, the remote, wheels and tyres. Obviously you get an extra one because I guess that goes on the back. Then you've got a charger and the kit itself. Packaging looked to be okay, looks reasonably adequate. How soft are the tyres? That's the key. Yeah, not too bad. Kind of fake bead locks. That's funny because on this side they look like they've got a big wall to them, but once you flip them over, the other side is very thin. So yeah, a very strange tyre, that one. Look like standard hexes, so changing over shouldn't be that difficult if you wanted to run different rims. Pretty detailed looking. Shocks feel quite nice. Right, let's get the wheels on it and see what it's like.
I cannot really been addicted to you. All of my attention I've been giving to you. Caught up in my feelings, I got feelings for you.
So this one is the entry level of the buggies, so it has the plastic chassis, but there is a good few options that you can get in this platform where you basically get a metal chassis. Also you can get a upgraded servo, you can get an upgraded electronic speed controller. This one is 40 amps, so they do a 60, obviously then you do LiPo. This will run a 2S LiPo, but there's no support for it, so obviously when the battery gets too low, it won't shut itself down, but you can run this on 2S LiPo if you want. Now the reason I got the entry level one is I thought, well, if you go for this one, that leaves you much more margin to put your own electronics in it and really ramp it up. You've got a solid base to start with, because we know that you can get faster brushless versions, but you don't really get to choose your own exact electronics. Well, if you go for the base one, you can then upgrade it. So that was one of my thinkings. Also, if you don't have the budget up front for the more expensive ones, you could go for something like this and then spread out the amount you spend on it down the line. So it's got metal uprights, which is really nice. It is bearings all the way through as well. It has got some funky wheels on it. These wheels aren't actual bead locks. These are like the entry level ones. There is other versions you can get on this platform, but being that they're hex, you can change them for anything you want. Not overly sold on them because they have this big fat lip on the outside, but on the inside it's thin, which is really weird. So it's going to give you a different kind of deflection on the inside as it is on the outside. So not too sold on that, even though it's mainly for looks. But like I said, you can swap them over. The shocks on this don't seem to be any different to the more upmarket ones, and I'm really happy with it. That bounce and the softness and the poise is fantastic, so I really like that. So you don't have to mess with the shocks at all and upgrade them later on. Look wise, it doesn't look any different really from the brushless ones. Yes, you can get different colors and different things like that. I think there's a green one, an orange one, and then there's a red one. Yeah, there's a green one there. So you've got, according to the box, you've got green, red and orange. The brushed editions are orange and red, and then the brushless ones are green and red, but you can tell the wheels are actually different. You can also have a spoiler and you can have a wheelie bar edition as well. Personally, I actually like the big spare wheel for two reasons. One, I like the look of it, and the other one is it's going to help you when you're flipping it over. That wheel is really going to slow you down and take some of the sting out of it. Right, let's take it for a bash. I'm going to run it on its stock NIMH battery. Now if you go for brushless, you get a different battery. Obviously, being that it's 2000 milliamps, not a great deal, but it gets you started. And if you're on a budget, that's exactly what you want, just to get up and get going. I've got a 4000 milliamp 2S LiPo, which is the standard Tamiya format, fits in the car perfectly. I will run it even though this electronic speed controller won't know when to cut off, but obviously I'll bring my own tester and then I'll just run it for, it's at 100% right now, so I'll run it for 50% of the battery. Steering's okay. I wouldn't say it's super fast, but it's good enough for what you need for this. But let's take it out and put it across the rust stuff. So this is quite a big challenge for a 1/10 car. I'm actually running it across a ploughed field. So normally this would be more 1/8 territory, but I really wanted to see how it could soak up the bumps. And to be fair, it does a pretty good job. It doesn't look as rough as it actually is on the camera. So it was really pushing the suspension and I was really pleased with it. Now what you're looking at is running on 2S LiPo. Obviously that's going to give it a little bit more punch, but running on the NIMH battery that comes with it is okay, and you could live with it for a while until you've got the budget to upgrade. Even the super budget tyres seem to be holding their own. I actually took my son with me and he really liked it. He enjoyed driving it. As you can see, it can flip over when you're under power. So going too crazy with the power is not really going to work because the car will roll over. Don't forget, this is only a 1/10. This car really seemed to like the dirt and the gravel, and it behaved better obviously than the highly ploughed field. So there you go. So what's my review? Well, on the entry level one, yes, you're not getting brushed and there's a few bits and pieces that you don't get, but for the entry point that you're getting for this, it gets you going and you can have fun with it. It's not as fast as brushless, but you can flip this over going around corners too fast anyway. So it's a good starter buggy that you're not instantly going to feel like, oh, I wish I'd have spent the extra. If you have the budget available, it's a personal choice whether you go for an entry one like this and then spend a bit more upgrading down the line and spreading your costs, or going for a ready to run. If you're not comfortable changing out your own electronics, going for a slightly more expensive upmarket version of this, because there is different versions. This has the plastic chassis. You can get an aluminium one that comes with turnbuckles as well and things like that. Personal choice, I don't necessarily know if that's a good idea, because obviously it's not going to be really thick aluminium, so maybe the plastic that flexes more is going to be a better long term versus the metal one that might bend. Now, don't take these to skate parks and jump them 20-30 foot in the air. They're not gonna do that, but what they will do is, if you're out in the dirt and the mud and the dust, running across fields and things like that, it will do that all day long. It's only if you start zooming it over massive ramps and it's sort of, you know, 4 or 5 meters in the air that sooner or later you're going to break parts. But you can get replacement parts for these. Now, when you dig into it, when you start looking close, some of the plastics are not as high grade as maybe you'd want, but remember, for the price point you're paying, you're getting a hell of a lot for your money. Now, there's a lot more twice as expensive buggies that obviously are going to be better, but you've got to be kind of realistic at what you're getting. You can easily upgrade this down the line if you find that your budget is very limited, and then you can put in more electronics, the hobby wing, you can put a brushless system. There's plenty of space in here. For a motor, you can change the servo. It's a standard servo, so very easy to swap out the electronics in this. With the entry-level one thing I don't like is these wheels and tires. If you look at the box, you can see they're the more upmarket ones, which are actually bead locks. These are like fake bead locks, and I'm not overly sold on them. They're soft enough, but I think once these wore out, I would swap them out for some better quality ones later on. Very good looking buggy, lots of detail. I do like this. Access is really nice. Fitting batteries very easy. Light bars excellent at the front, and you get a coloured light bar that's red and amber at the back, and you get lights at the front. Shocks are good. I'm really happy with the shocks. This is a bit pointless, but obviously it's about a look. But these don't do anything, so if they get pulled off, well, it doesn't really matter. But the actual shocks themselves, I'm reasonably happy with. They're for, you know, for the money you're paying. I do prefer the version that has the wheel on the back. Like I said before, you can get a spoiler one if you prefer. So from a recommendation point of view, good enough. You know, you're getting a lot for your money. So it's totally up to you what you think. Links in the description to all the technical side of this. I did run it on 2S LiPo and on its battery. Obviously the LiPo gives it a little bit more punch, but to get you going, then you can always upgrade later on. So thanks very much. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you over on one of these videos shortly.